In this demonstration, I'm going to show how to use RFR, or reason for replacement codes, within VAST. We have a couple of different choices here. I'm going to start off by going into VAST maintenance and hit the little red triangle at the bottom of the screen for the index and hit the letter C, and I want to go into controls. As you'll see here in the general tab in controls on the right hand side column, we have three choices: either map RFR codes, user RFR codes, or RFR optional. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate each one of these three choices and how they are slightly different from each other. I'm going to start by using the user RFR codes. And as you notice, when I put a check mark on that, it grays out the other two choices. You only can choose one of the three. I'll go ahead and hit done. And in VAST maintenance, then I'll click on the little red triangle, again, the index, and go to the letter U and look at user RFR codes. This is completely customizable by each individual user, where I can go in here and you can see that I have a total of 13 different RFR codes that are set up on my particular system. Just custom reason for replacement codes. And as you can see here, you could modify this completely by deleting existing ones, editing existing ones, or adding your own new ones. So in this case, I have 13. It says records, condition for guarantee, and the code for number 6 says suggested based on technician's substantial experience, so on and so forth. So again, this is completely customizable. You decide what you want for your reason for replacement codes. Now, once that's been enabled, you will need to restart VAST because it was a control file change. Upon restarting VAST, you'll notice that if I go into a work order and add something like, in this case, I'm going to throw on a set of brake pads and the labor. I'm going into V-Item Broker from VAST Commerce. I'm selecting brake and wheel bearings, front pads, rotors, and drums. And in this situation, I happen to stock these Wherever Silver front disc brake pad set. I'm going to put a check mark on those. I'll also throw some labor on this particular ticket, going into the labor tab, and I'll put a check on brakes R&R, and I'll post it. And you notice now it automatically pops up with an RFR code list of choices. And these choices obviously represent the list of choices that I just displayed in VAST maintenance. And I can double click on any of these to select it. I'll go ahead and double click on that. Now I happen to have a tag along set up on my brake pads where it's going to try to throw on the .4 brake fluid. So again, using the function called user RFR codes, it's going to populate this for each line that comes up, and I'll select my RFR. So here we see a location for the brake pads. These are fronts, and I see the RFR of S3, RE, and S1. Now, these codes might not mean a whole lot to you. These are just codes that were established when you built this. However, the nice thing is that when I go to print this particular customer's repair order or final invoice, we see the RFR column here, S3, RE, and S1, but we have a definition down here of what each of those RFR codes represent, so the customer can look at that as a legend. And obviously we see location front. So I'm going to go ahead and close this ticket down, and I'll delete the line items off of there, and I'm going to quit out of VAST, and I'll show you what the other options look like. So in this case, I'm going to go back into controls, and I'm going to change from using the user RFR codes to using the MAP codes. Now, MAP stands for Motorist Assurance Program RFR codes, reason for replacement codes. Again, I'll click on Done. And because this is a control file change, I will need to make sure that I restart VAST. I'll go ahead and launch VAST here. And I'm just going to open up the exact same ticket and go through the exact same process so you can see what the subtle differences are. Now, I'm opening up my ticket here. I'm going right back into VAST Commerce with a right click. I'll choose V-Item Broker. And again, I'm going to stick with the brake category and front brake pads and rotors. I'll select the exact same product here as far as the Wherever Silvers, and I'll grab the labor as well. And here we have the labor, and I post it. Again, you see the RFR codes come up here. However, the conditions that are listed here, or the choices, are driven off of the Motorist Assurance Program list of choices for this particular product. You can see that the description is slightly different. I'll go ahead and say cracked. And you notice that it didn't force it now on the brake fluid or the labor. It just threw on the reason for replacement for the brake pad set. Same thing is true. When I go to print this, it's going to show the exact same legend that we saw a moment ago, where we see the RB, and we see that that defines that as cracked through. So the customer has an easy definition of why that was replaced. I'm going to go ahead and quit out of VAST once more and back into controls. And the last option that I'll have here is RFR optional. Obviously, reason for replace codes are optional. And when I select that, again, I'll restart VAST because that was a control file change. And we'll repeat the exact same process once again to show the subtle differences. Marty Klosterman. Simple right click, VAST Commerce, V-Item Broker, brakes, fronts, the wherever pads, labor, and post. And now you see that it threw it on the ticket. It never prompted me to enter in any kind of a reason for replacement code. However, because it's optional, I could highlight any of these line items and simply double click within the RFR column, and there you see the list of my personal custom setup RFR conditions, reason for replacement conditions. So again, if you're using the RFR optional choice, it will give you the option, clearly, to double click on any of the columns under the RFR here, or cells, fields under RFR column, and select from the user-defined RFR codes. As you can see here, guarantee, so on and so forth, all of these are the same as what are represented here. Obviously, I can double click, it throws in the code, and once again, as expected, you're going to see that on the printout. So hopefully this gives you a better understanding of the options that are available for using RFR or reason for replacement codes, and your flexibility of either MAP, Motorist Assurance Program, user definable, or optional. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us. Thanks for watching.